7th. And Dakota Bennick, we haven't talked much about him today, but Dakota Bennick in that 73, he was with us last week at Daytona, and he has made the long journey to Southern California to race with us here at Auto Club Speedway, and he's currently sitting 8th. And last week and this week, Dakota Bennick has been running consistent laps. He's been staying out of trouble and doing pretty well. Then we have Brian McRae in 9th and Matt Ridgway in 10th. Both of those drivers regular in the SESRA series, having a rough day. We saw McRae spin out in turn 3 just a few laps ago, and he's continued on. He's about 24, 25 seconds behind our leader right now. Matt Ridgway also, both of those drivers with, actually Ridgway has some damage to the right side of his car. And our quote unquote rookie, Eric Stiles, in that number 28 Haviland car, good-looking car. We saw him have a pretty hard crash in the first opening laps of this race, but he has gone back out there and has been turning very consistent laps, staying out of trouble, and he's going to finish this race, or at least that's his goal. So kudos to Eric Stiles for continuing on after a rough start to this event. And I was just talking about Matt Ridgway, and I saw in practice and again here in this race, the right side of his car with damage, and he just hit the outside wall just a few laps ago, and he is probably going to have to bring that car down pit road. I think he's got some substantial damage to the suspension of that car. Yeah, he's been battling a tight race car from practice and through the race, not able to keep it on the white line. So that damaged car is going to come down and see if he can get some, definitely see if he can get some pit repairs done to that number 13 car.
Yeah, he hit that wall pretty hard on that right side there, really crumpled that up. And as they're jacking it up, looks like some damage to that right front, so he'll try to get that fixed under a little better control and get a solid finish out of this one. But back up front, let's take a look here. Jeff Ward leading by, I'd say about 4 car lengths there. Really starting to put a stretch on him now.
Oh, Kyle Wellman. Sorry to cut you off there, Jason. Kyle Wellman, he got really loose off of turn 4. He actually went through the grass. He was so out of shape. He did gather it back up, did not make any contact with the wall, but lost a whole lot of ground there. He's going to drop back to that 4th position. But really close call there for Kyle Wellman.
You know, this is his 2nd race on a road going through the grass, so I think he just wants to drive through the grass.
I think he's waiting for us to race the stadium super trucks or the rallycross cars. I feel like he might be at home in those cars.
Yeah, we've been thinking he was fast in these, but yeah, we should put something together and get him in one of those, see what he's got.
So as you were saying up front, our top 2, Jeff Ward, Dalton Kilrow, they have really stretched it out. Those top 5 were running really close together, but John Perkins now about 3 seconds behind our leaders, and Kyle Wellman, we just saw him get loose off of turn 4. He's about 5 seconds back. Jason Taylor in 5th, he's about 7 seconds back. So those top 5 drivers have kind of spread out, and we can see that Jeff Ward and Dalton Kilrow are turning very similar lap times up in front of this field. And we're about 8.5 minutes left in this race. So this is the time during this race that we would see these tires really start coming into play. You know, we're burning fuel off, the rear end's getting light, the tires are getting hot. So look for things to be cranked up to 11 here with just about 8 minutes to go.
Why 11?
Well, because usually it goes up to 10, but 11 is one more than that.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. We are rocking and rolling here. I think Jeff Ward's going to walk away with this one. The question is he going to win both? Is he going to win both these races tonight?
I think that we should handicap our good friend Jeff Ward and make him start at the back of the next race.
Yeah, we'll talk to him about that because we don't need him walking off with all these wins of the preseason races here. You got to give some guys some hope.
Yeah, we'll give him something like the Top Flight Computer Series Renegade Challenge, where he's got to start at the back. He doesn't get a bonus or anything, but he gets bragging rights.
Yeah, very clever. That's why you're on the team there. We got to make him feel good about starting in the back.
Yeah, that's why you pay me the big bucks, Jason.
Well, it looks like John Perkins kind of gathered up that loss there. We saw him a little bit ago, a couple laps ago. He was losing big time there, but he's starting to put down a little better laps here. Gathered it up a little bit. Still not reeling in those top two there. Dalton Kilrow and Jeff Ward have got the cars to beat right now for sure.
Well, I've been pretty surprised in these past few races, Jason. We've been able to see some drivers really make up some lost time under green flag conditions. Usually, once you've lost 5 seconds, then you're just scrambling to try to maintain that. But last week at Daytona and here at Auto Club, we've seen some drivers really be able to make up not just tenths of seconds, but, handfuls of seconds over other cars under green flag conditions. And I think that just comes down to, who's conserving tires, who's able to drive that car really deep into the corner. And, up at the front, I think that we did see Jeff Ward. We saw him conserving his tires earlier as he's starting to stretch that lead out over Dalton Kilrow. It was just about 2 or 3 tenths of a second. Now it's over a half a second. And with 5.5 minutes or so left in this race, I think you might be right. I think our buddy Jeff Ward might be running away with this victory.
Yeah, I think it's just I've raced with Jeff and I've been watching him here for years, and it's real calculated. He runs every race kind of the same. It's something guys should be taking notes of as we start getting closer to the season here. He starts out, he races real hard. You'll see him push real hard in practice, push real hard in qual. He'll start up front. He'll start that race off those first couple laps, and he'll either find out if he can build a gap or if he just has to manage his position. From then, he's gonna hold back. His lap times are going to go down half a second, maybe 3/4 of a second. And you're going to see him really relax. He'll even lose a couple positions, but he's going to stay with that front pack. And then as soon as he feels, as soon as the other guys start falling off on their tires, or, he feels that he can push it to the next stint, he's going to hammer down. So, it's methodical. It's planned out with him. But, it's just a strategy. So, I mean, if these guys are smart, they're going to put that in the playbook and figure out how to kind of use that strategy against him by the end of that series.
Absolutely. His driving style reminds me of that scene from Days of Thunder where Harry Hogg yells at Cole Trickle for going faster and wearing his tires out. And he says, "Harry, I'm not going faster. Everybody else is going slower." And that kind of really encapsulates the kind of strategy and mythology that Jeff Ward brings to the track every week.
Yeah, no, it's not just about driving left and turning driving left and turning fast. It's about thinking. You got to do a lot of it. And this guy, Jeff Ward's, he's good at it. He's definitely one to take notes down. And once he gets up there, once you get racing around him, follow that line, because that's going to show you the line that he's running might not be the fastest, but it's going to conserve the most, and that's what's going to be the fastest overall.
Now, I just want to update you with just about 3.5 minutes left. Unfortunately, Jason Pitts has retired from this race in that Dakota Bro number 52 Peak car. And Ty Marasco, we're still not sure what happened to Ty. He's still sitting on pit road. I'm not sure if Ty is married, but perhaps maybe his wife yelled at him and he had to jump out of the cockpit to do a few errands before the next race. But those two drivers currently out of the race. Eric Stiles, He's 2 laps down, but he is still turning laps. So kudos to him for not giving up after that lap 4 incident. And 3 minutes left. Our statistician, Jeff Shrewsbury, has told me that they can go the full distance on fuel. So fuel not a factor in this race. However, tires probably going to play a role here with just 2 minutes and 40 seconds left. Just a handful of laps left now, but unfortunately, Dalton Kilrow not able to really etch into that lead right now. He's still about a half a second behind.
Yeah, he's holding there. I mean, he's holding with them. We saw him up front at the beginning of the race. He was mixing it up with those guys. So, I mean, I think he's doing real good for how aggressive he was driving early on. Real good holding there. But, you know, if he's got as much wear and tear on those tires as I think he does, he's doing a real good job just kind of holding that position where he's at right now.
Although right there through 3 and 4, Dalton Kilrow kept it planted down and dove all the way to the white line, and he kind of took a bite out of that lead that Jeff Ward has. He went from about a half a second to 2 tenths back, excuse me. So if he can keep doing that, maybe he's been saving a little something for the last few laps of this race.
Tell you what, we got a car on pit road right now. That's going to be Brandon Feeney changing tires. I don't know. I don't know if that's going to pay off with a couple minutes left, or maybe he had a blowout. You know, that's another possibility with these tires.
Yeah, Jason, we talked about that post-race last week. We were talking about that it is possible to blow tires out in these cars. The amount of weight and lateral force on these bias ply tires, especially at high-speed tracks, you can definitely blow out a tire, and that's something to take into consideration here, especially at a fast track like this. And Kyle Wellman in the number 9, we've only got about a minute left in this race, but just a quick update. Kyle Wellman apparently got into the wall. He went through the grass again. He's dropped back to that 6th position.
Dude, he might do it again. He's up against that wall some more.
Yeah, the late stages of this race really rearing its ugly head for these drivers and their tires. And somebody who has been conserving and just running silently and turning good laps is Nick Akie in that number 83. He's worked his way up to 4th position. But with 15 seconds left, I believe our leaders are going to be on our last lap. I'm not 100% sure the rules in iRacing, if it's time plus 1 lap or if it's just time. But we're at 0 seconds right now, so we are out of time. So I'm thinking we'll see the checkered flag here this lap.
Yeah, I don't think Dalton here, I don't think he's in a position to really go for anything, but we'll see if they got one more lap. Nope, this is going to be the checkered here. So yeah, Jeff Ward is going to take the first heat race here, as we'll call it. Dalton Kilrow's second. So real good for Dalton Kilrow to hang in there, because I know he was abusing those tires early on. He was mixing it up for the lead from the whole beginning of this race. So, you know, good on him for that.
Well, and Dalton Kilrow did not give Jeff Ward much breathing room this entire race. I mean, it's not like Jeff ran away with it. Dalton Kilrow was within striking distance this entire event. So definitely hats off to him. Dalton Kilrow going to end up second. John Perkins is going to finish third. Nick Akie comes back and finishes fourth. And Jason Taylor going to round out our top 5. And Jason, I think we're going to talk to our winner here in this first race, Jeff Ward. Jeff Ward, what a show. You have yet again gone to victory lane in that number 55 car. I'm getting used to talking to you after these races. How was it for you?
Yeah, Steve, it's good. We got some momentum going for sure. I'm ready for the season to start. But, yeah, I thought I'd come out here and run with these guys. We missed practice yesterday that they had, so needed as much seat time as I could get for the race tonight. And, you know, learned some things. Dalton was quick. He was definitely keeping pace right there with us, and maybe could have even come up here and battled for the win if there was a couple more laps to go. He was really coming on there. But, yeah, we should have a good car for tonight.
Tell me a little bit about tire wear. Me and Jason were trying to figure out exactly how worn out your tires were getting close to the end. We feel like maybe you were conserving a little bit in the mid stages of that race to have that speed at the end. How are those bias ply tires around this 2-mile track?
Yeah, I kind of took it easy. Started up front, but let some of them guys go and kind of tried to save the right front for 4 or 5 laps. And I just hopped out of the car and looked at my right front. It's 30%, so I was close to blowing a tire.
Wow,
So
30%. Yeah, that's getting pretty close. We were saying that it's possible to blow the tires out in these cars, and looks like you were on the ragged edge there at the end to go the distance. So kudos to you for managing those tires very well through this race. You have any sponsors? Anybody you want to thank? I mean, we're getting pretty standard with these post race interviews, Jeff. I feel like I talk to you every week when you bring home the trophy.
hey, it's a good thing. I mean, that means things are going right. But yeah, I'd like to thank all the usual sponsors: Dr. Squatch, Top Flight Computers, Modern Spartan Systems, TVT Green Oil Additives, Pride Network, ETV Racing. There's just a lot of guys behind the scenes, and thanks to Jason, Brian McCrae, you guys in the booth, and hopefully we can go get them in this next race too.
What's your strategy going into this next race?
With a 30% right front, try to take care of that thing a little better. I was having to really push there at the end to stay in front of Dalton, and the right rear was 70%. So I'm probably gonna try to save even more in this next race, with it being I think a 40 lapper. So yeah, just tire management. That's what it is with these cars, it looks like.
Absolutely. Thank you, Jeff Ward. We'll let you get prepared for your next race, and hopefully, and more than likely, we will be talking to you again in just a little bit.
All right, thanks, guys.
Thanks, Jeff. So that was our winner of this year's first race. That's Jeff Ward, a regular competitor in the SESRA series, and also one of our buddies who joins us in the booth every once in a while. So whether he's on the track or up in the booth, we always have a good time with Jeff, and we are getting used to talking to him in victory lane as he finds himself at the front very regularly. And I believe as we speak, they are getting everything set up for this next race, which is going to be the main event here at Auto Club Speedway with the SESRA drivers. We're going to see who our race director, Brian McCrae, which drivers, if any, are going to get the thumbs up to be promoted to this next race. I think that we saw some drivers turning some clean laps. And we are going to take just a short break and let you get a word from our sponsors, and we will be back right here at Auto Club Speedway for our next event after these messages.
All right, we're gonna add a bucket, coolant. Oh, amps it right out. The bucket. See how long it takes to wear through the coating.
Listen up. The soap you shower with, it's you probably haven't even questioned what bar of soap you lather up with. Let's face it, most guys don't. They're still using whatever bar their mommy bought for her little man. Is that what you want? To smell like mama's little man? Ugh. But now you can upgrade your shower game with Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Dr. Squatch Natural Soap. Real soap for real men. Or don't, and continue to be mommy's little helper.
Welcome back to E-Racing TV here at Auto Club Speedway. We are live, coming to you at your house, on your phone, anywhere you want to watch. And E-Racing TV, after that first race here, the Invitational here at Auto Club Speedway, we saw some pretty good racing, and we saw some new faces. And if I'm not mistaken, we're going to be joined up in the booth right now by Brian McRae, our race director. Brian McRae, what did you think about that first race? We saw some new faces. We saw some action. Give me your thoughts as a race director on what you saw.
I was really happy with it. We had a couple of single car incidents, and including myself, I got bumped by somebody mid pack. But even in those situations, the cars buckled themselves down and they got off the track and kept it off the racing surface. So even when mistakes were made, they did it the right way. And good racing, solid racing through the field. You guys saw a lot of nose to tail. We were able to mix it up mid pack. So I was really happy about it. So the cars run great. I think they made some changes to the cars with this latest build. That definitely made a difference. Definitely made a difference in traffic. Made the cars more stable. So it was a lot more enjoyable to drive too.
That's great. It was definitely fun to watch up here in the booth, and everybody watching from home. A lot of mixing it up. We saw some good pack racing, some single file racing, and definitely some tire wear play into factor there towards the end of the race. I know our winner Jeff Ward said that he was getting pretty close to blowing out that right front tire. So definitely cool to see some of these new drivers manage themselves in a way that made the race director happy.
Yeah, I tried. There's two ways to go about it. One is you put a whole bunch of rules to paper and you measure a whole bunch of things. And the other thing is you just, some people, when you do this long enough, when you race on iRacing long enough, you just understand how the community works. And when you understand how the community works, you don't need a whole bunch of rules. And so that's kind of the approach that we've taken. And thus far, we've found some really good drivers, and I think it attracts kind of a like-minded set of individuals. So I'm thrilled so far.
That's great to hear. Thank you, Brian, for not only being a fierce competitor in this series, but also taking the role as race director and kind of managing all of that behind the scenes and during the race. So hats off to you for being a multitasker here in the SESRA Classic series.
Well, thank y'all. We appreciate you too.
Thanks, Brian. Go have fun out there, and maybe we'll be talking to you a little bit after this race in Victory Lane. Our race director, Brian McRae, definitely wearing two hats, and it's got to be a difficult job to not only worry about your race pace and your strategy and your car setup and all that, but also managing, drivers' wants and needs and the administration aspect of the league. So definitely a shout out to Brian McRae for doing all of those things.
Yeah, no, it's real easy for a hobby to become a job. And that's luckily he hasn't caught on that he's doing a job right now, because he's doing good at it. And we want to keep this going in the right direction. So yeah, he's doing an awesome job. He's a great guy. Awesome. And he said the word community, and that's really what this, iRacing is a community. It's a pretty tight-knit group. You run with one group of guys, and you're going to start finding that they know the same group of guys that you've been running with, and then it's a real small world once you kind of get up to this level. It's pretty awesome too.
Absolutely, the iRacing community is a very tight-knit community, and whether you're running dirt tracks, oval tracks, road courses, sports cars, or the rookie series. Everybody really seems to kind of have this sort of camaraderie that brings everyone together and kind of an understanding. There's always going to be a few outliers, maybe some newbies who don't know the rules yet. But as a whole, I'd say iRacing, especially on the league side of things, have become a very professional group of racers who do a great job of putting on a good show, but also racing clean and racing close. So right now we are just about 2 minutes left in our practice session here at Auto Club Speedway. And no surprise, at the top of the board, Jeff Ward in that number 55, who is again about 0.3 of a second faster than our second place driver. That would be Derek Paulson. Joseph Tice, another fast driver in the series, sits third. Dalton Kilrow, fresh off of a runner-up finish in our first race, is sitting fourth. Brian McRae sits fifth, and he even made time to run up to the booth and talk to us for a few minutes. Jason Taylor and Brandon Feeney are the only drivers that have turned laps in this practice session, but we are going to be going over to qualifying just in about a minute and a half. And I'm preparing myself to see some really kamikaze laps here because, the starting position, especially in these cars, we've seen someone like Dalton Kilrow. We've seen someone like Kyle Wellman be able to make up a lot of ground, but I don't know, Jason, as a driver, I do like the challenge from time to time, but I really like track position better.
Yeah, everyone that we've talked to is talking about, building momentum, just getting brave, kind of building a resume with these cars, races in these cars. I was talking to Kyle Willman and Brian McRae and even Jeff Ward throughout the week, talking about last week's race. Man, you would have thought they won the Daytona 500. These guys were over the moon. They were ecstatic. They loved the race, everything about it. As we see Matt Ridgway pushing it a little hard in practice there, trying to get everything he can out of it. But yeah, everyone I talked to loved the race, and they were so proud. And nothing was on the line yet. These are preseason. These are exhibition races. Just everyone kind of filling them out, testing the cars. But you'd have never known it. You would have thought they just won $1 million with it. So there's a lot of pride, and like what Jeff Ward was saying, it's about building momentum. He feels good. He's confident. His confidence is built up. He's ready for the season to start. So yeah, I think everyone's coming here to win. It's not so much of a pace or a parade lap. It's everyone's here to really see what it's going to take to win in the series, and the only way to do that is to win here.
Absolutely. And I know I've been saying absolutely a lot, but everything that you say, Jason, I've been agreeing with tonight. And that's one of those things that I've got to say, SESRA and our broadcasting reach here on Roku and Amazon and Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, it adds an element of legitimization to what they're doing, because not only are they racing in a premier racing league here on iRacing, but now this racing is being broadcast to the world, and we're getting a lot of views from people all over the world who are now watching our broadcasts of these races. So it kind of ups the ante a little bit. And with thousands of people watching our race from last week, not only are you winning against these competitors who you respect and you trust and you want to beat, but now you're on a worldwide platform to where now you've got fans who are going to say, hey, wait a second, I like that Jeff Ward guy, or hey, I noticed that Joseph Tice, he's running at the front all the time. That's my guy. So now we're building a fan base, and I feel like that once we keep going with this, we're really going to build a legitimate platform for these drivers to showcase their talents.
No, that's it exactly. It's in SESRA, the league itself. It's been around since 2018, and pretty much from the end of that first season, which Jeff Ward was the champion of. I had the league itself had people messaging it. Hey, where's Jeff Ward from? People want to know it. So that fan base is growing. It really helps getting them to come into the booth and talking to everyone and getting to interview them, and that's definitely what we strive for. Getting that reach out there, because it's all about the interaction, getting to talk with these guys. You say things like NASCAR, IMSA, Formula One, those drivers are almost intouchable. You see them in passing at a racetrack, if you even get to go to a racetrack. And it's not it's a handshake, it's a picture, and it's what they can do with how much time they got and what's going on. But with sim racing, you can find these guys on Facebook. You can message them. If you live close enough, you can go fishing with them. Me and Jeff Ward's been trying to plan a fishing trip for years now, but these are all real people. They could be your neighbor. They can be the guy that works at the Domino's down the street. It can be anything. So it's all about, just the community and who these guys are and the awesome shows that they're putting on here.
Well, I don't want to get too political, but back in the day, especially in the 80s here with these 80s cars, one of the big draws to the NASCAR Cup Series or even the Grand National Series was that if you had a car and a group of guys, anybody could show up and run and try to win a race. And unfortunately, the way that NASCAR has been going in recent years, they've been making it more and more difficult for the local driver, the small guy, your neighbor, your buddy, to actually go out there and race with the big dogs. So I feel like this is going to become an excellent platform for those drivers who may not have the opportunity or the funding available to them to go out and race at Auto Club Speedway in a cup car because the opportunity isn't there, but they can do it right here, and they're racing with like-minded drivers from all over the country and other countries as well. We know that Brandon Feeney's from the Great White North. It gives them a great opportunity to actually go out there and race, and especially on, like you said, a platform right here that's being broadcast worldwide. So it's almost like we're starting something new. It's esports. It is simulated racing, but I guarantee you the racing itself is very real.
Yeah, no, it's you don't feel the G forces and you don't have the bruises unless the force feedback breaks your wrist or something. But losing that race, it's the same feeling of defeat. Especially, it's all the hours of practice you put into it, all the testing and tuning, the coaching from your friends. Even guys have spotters and crew chiefs during the race to help them out. And when you don't hit that mark, when you don't win it, it is the same feeling. I can tell you from experience, it's the same feeling losing that sim race as it was losing a go-kart race, losing a street stock race, losing any race in real life. It's that same bitter feeling that drives you to do better next time. So the emotions and and that's another thing. The emotions get very real.
Absolutely, the emotions get real, and right now the emotion of disappointment looming through the garage area. A newcomer, Bo Stenzel, he actually had some mechanical problems in qualifying, and not with his car, but with his cockpit setup. He turned a lap of 50.0, which was a little bit off the pace, and he notified everyone that his pedals locked up, and he was, unfortunately, I don't think he is going to start this event because he is having problems with his cockpit pedals. So hopefully he can get that fixed before next week's event. And in addition to that, Joseph Tice, who was a regular competitor here in SESRA during qualifying, his connection got, I'm not sure what happened. His throughput fell through and he got booted from the server. He has reconnected, but unable to turn a qualifying lap for Joseph Tice. So we'll keep an eye on him to make sure his internet connection is able to maintain throughout this event.
Yeah, no, he made it back in. He's on track now. He's running at a time. He's got to post a lap real quick here. Let's see if he gets a time put down.
As we stand right now, on the pole is Dalton Kilrow and the number 88, Derek Paulson, sitting second. Nick Akie with a great qualifying run in third. And just as I say that, Joseph Tice to the top of the board. Joseph Tice with a 44 flat qualifying lap. That is going to put him in first. Everyone gets bumped down the leaderboard. That's going to put Brian McRae in the fifth position, Brandon Feeney in sixth, Dakota Bennick, who transferred from that earlier race, he is going to be eighth. And I know we were joking around earlier about Jeff Ward taking the quote-unquote Top Flight Computer Series Renegade Challenge, but he has yet to turn a qualifying lap, so I'm wondering if he's going to start at the back.
No, I really think he is. I think that's a plan that Jason Taylor and Matt Ridgway have also. They haven't turned a lap either. So maybe they're... as I say that, I think we got Jason Taylor rolling out here. He is staged but not moving. So now it looks like Jason Taylor's having some connection issues too, so that's another car we got to keep an eye on. But yeah, it looks like Jason Taylor, Matt Ridgway, Jeff Ward, they're opting to start in the back, and let this race settle out and see what they can do with it.
Now, while you were talking, I have some big news from the garage area, Jason. Bo Stencil was able to fix his pedals. He said the cord was pinched. There was a little bit of a knot or a tie-up in his cords, which was causing his pedals to not calibrate correctly. He has since fixed that, and I believe he will be starting this race. And even though his qualifying lap put him at the back, he would still be in front of drivers like Jason Taylor and Jeff Ward, who did not turn a lap.
Well, I'll tell you what, if there's some drivers I don't want behind me, it's going to be those two. But awesome for Bo Stencil, man. It sounds like he was one of those wild card drivers, you know, who knows what we're about to see. If it's anything like last week, it's going to be some good racing, though. You know, hopefully we get him. I wonder if he is. I wonder if his gamer tag in our comms here is DeBears9715. So we'll have to get someone editing those names quick there. Make sure we don't drag up a Bears fan up here for no reason.
Well, I tell you what, Jason, Bo Stencil definitely turned some heads last week at Daytona. He showed up for the main event. He started from the back. He said, "Boys, watch out. I'm coming to the front." And that's exactly what he did. He came all the way to the front and put on a great show. I believe he finished 4th last week at Daytona and immediately sent us an email saying, "How do I become a part of this? I love the series." And we gladly welcomed him into the open arms of SESRA. So, and as I say that, Bo Stencil says he's doing it for the ladies in the pits. So,
yeah. Oh man, this guy's a racer through and through. I'll tell you what. Hopefully he can hold his own. If not, he'll just have to relinquish his racing job and just get a career up here in the booth with us, I guess. But you know, it's.
I imagine Bo can provide some serious color commentary.
Yeah. So if he can't drive with the lick, at least he's got a backup plan. We got a backup plan for him.
Let's hope all the ladies in the pits have their eyes on that 23 car for this event. We're about out of time here in qualifying, just a little bit left. They're going to start gridding up, and Joseph Tice going to be our pole sitter, and Dalton Kilroe going to be 2nd. Kyle Wellman 3rd, Derek Paulson 4th, Nick Akie going to round out our top 5. And I believe we're going to see if we can get a word with our pole sitter, Joseph Tice, before this event starts. Joseph, you had a little bit of a connection issue there in qualifying, but were able to get out on the track and turn in a very fast lap before the checkered flag. Tell us a little bit about that lap.
Yeah, my computer froze right when I went to go to qualify, so I had to restart it. Yeah, that gave me, I missed the first half qualifying, but yeah, I got it out there, had a good lap, smooth lap. I think these cars are a lot more about, you know, being smooth and easy and not really upsetting them, and I was really proud of that lap.
Yeah, great job. What are your thoughts moving into this race?
Well, my thoughts are, I know Jeff Ward and Dalton Kilroe's got 30 laps of practice in on me with that last race, so I know I got to take it easy because 40 laps is a long time on these tires, so I don't really plan on going anywhere, doing anything anytime soon, so it's just going to be kind of holding my pace and seeing what happens towards the end.
Sounds good. You want to thank your sponsors before you roll out to the green flag, Joseph?
Yeah, of course. I got to thank Modern Spartan Systems for all that they do for me. Sponsorship of the car. It's really good stuff. You guys should check it out.
Modern Spartan Systems on the side of that number 5 car. Joseph, good luck in this race, and hopefully we'll be talking to you in just a little bit after this event.
Yeah, 10-4. Hope so. Good luck. Thanks, guys.
Thank you, Joseph. That's our pole sitter, Joseph Tyson. Jason, we talk to Joseph seemingly every week. He always finds himself at the front. Very good in qualifying.
Yeah, no, he's one of our normals. He's up there with Jeff Ward. They kind of steal the show a little bit, but they're good guys to have. They're humble drivers, man. They know what they got, and they roll out there and give it 100% every time, every race. And you know, the one thing that's the same about those two is when you talk to them, they'll tell you, hey, you know, Monday I ran 100 laps. Tuesday I ran 50 laps, getting ready for this race coming up. You know, they're normal guys just like everyone else, but they put in the effort, they put in the time to be, the rock stars of these races, and that's what separates it sometimes. Some of these guys, they get frustrated, but are only, not practicing whatsoever, not preparing in any way, and just show up and hoping for a best finish. You can't set that pedestal. You can't put that goal that far up there if that's what you're putting into it.
Well, and these this series, for our viewers at home who may not know, if you're running in a real world race, you've got to keep in mind equipment. Is my engine as good as that guy's engine? Is my chassis as good as that guy's chassis? Everybody in this field is running the exact same car with the exact same horsepower. So really it's the driver that separates the field. And with that extra bit of practice and that extra bit of knowledge, it really makes a difference come race day. And as I say that, the pace car going to drop down pit road, and we're about to go green flag here at Auto Club Speedway. And the green flag is out. Joseph Tyson, Dalton Kilrow going to lead them down the front straightaway and into turn number 1, 2 by 2 by 2 by 2, as they dive down into turn number 1. Joseph Tice going to jump out to an early lead. And right now, Kyle Wellman going to go try to put the pressure on Kilrow, but he can't do it. He's going to slide in behind him. And right now, Derek Paulson sitting in 4th. Derek was not a part of that race earlier, so he's doing a pretty good job right now putting the pressure on Kyle Wellman in that number 9. And Nick Akie in that number 83 Lake Speed car, he is going to be running in 5th.
Tell you what, I'd keep an eye on Nick Akie there, because he was one of the ones that at the end of the race had the speed. He saved those tires. He knew what he was doing with it, and it made a big difference. So, yeah, Nick is the guy to keep an eye on here. And he started up front, so he's already got that position. The ball's in his court right now. If he runs this race the same way he did last time, look for him to be up front there at the end of this thing.
And I just want to point out, this may not be a surprise to you or our viewers at home, Jeff Ward started shotgun on the field. He inadvertently took that challenge we put forth to him, and he has already worked his way up into the 7th position. So just in one lap, he was able to pass a handful of cars and crack the top 10. Already off to a great start is Jeff Ward.
I mean, we kept talking about confidence, and this guy, he's got 100% of it right now. I don't think he can feel he can do any wrong in that car. He's really loving this. I've never seen him peak quite like this. This is awesome stuff. SESRA started out running the Xfinity cars, and he dominated that series with a couple other guys. And I don't think I've seen him this high up on the competition right now, though. So, I mean, look for him. Unless these other guys can really buckle down and find out what makes them tick, look for him to kind of steal a lot of these shows.
Yeah, we may have to start adding weight to the Jeff Ward car to make sure these other drivers can stand a chance. Number 13, of Matt Ridgway, way out of shape off of turn 4. He kept it off the wall and kept it pointed in the right direction, but big moment for him, as he is going to lose all that momentum and he is going to drop back to the very, very tail end of this field.
Matt Ridgway is a real good friend of mine, and I'll tell you, from all of our years racing here, he loves tight cars. He'll tell you he thinks he likes loose cars. He hates loose cars. He can't drive them, and I think that's a problem that he's going to have right here at this track today, is these cars, if it's snappy loose, he's going to drive it in deep, expecting that tight to stay throughout the turn, and it's going to keep on biting him if he doesn't get up on that wheel and start expecting that.
Yeah, there are a lot of drivers who prefer one or the other, a loose car or a tight car. Every driver says they want a neutral handling car, but how often do you come across a perfectly neutral handling car? Very, very rarely. So more often than not, you find a driver who prefers one over the other. I'm a driver who likes a loose race car, mostly because they say loose is fast. And it's easier to kind of search around and control a loose car, in my opinion. I find a tight car to be more frustrating than anything else.
Yeah, I mean, it's with a tight car, you only got kind of one option, and that's to back up those turns back out of the throttle, and all you're doing is losing speed. That loose car gives you some options. You know, you can search on the track, like you said. You can find those different lanes. You can just throttle that thing. I mean, for all the dirt drivers out there, you know about throttling through that slick, controlling that thing. So, you know, you have some other options available to change it up depending on what the guys around you are racing. You can change that line. You can attack them differently. It's a lot easier to set them up for passes. And tight cars, they might be comfortable at first, but you know, after a while, you're going to end up scrubbing a lot of speed and losing a lot of speed. So, you know, when you're having to pick a setup to go with, it's really driver's preference. But with these, all these setups are the same. These cars are identical. All these guys got to drive the same thing. So for the guys who like loose cars, if it's a loose car, they're going to like that track. If it's a tight setup, you know, you're going to be stuck with it. So that's something that's kind of always up in debate, and is always kind of a drama stirrer, depending on if we're going to open up setups, if setups need to be fixed, if they got to be custom. So, you know, stay tuned. We might have to keep up extra shows that keep up with all the drama and all the heat that go along with how these cars feel.
Well, you definitely have to adapt. I know any driver who's used to running the iRacing fixed setup series, in my opinion, all of those setups tend to be a bit to very tight. They're very safe setups to let anyone kind of come in and run competitively. I find it a little frustrating because they are so tight. But if you come to a series like this that has a fixed setup, this setup may be vastly different than what you're used to and may lean more towards the loose side. So a lot of adaptation and a lot of rolling with the punches necessary to kind of get a feel for these cars and these setups.
See, riding along with Nick Akie here. We're going to try to see if we can notice how much wheel he puts into it here. His line's a little bit different than all the other guys up front. And he gets a big run. But see, he's going to lose it about here. So he's entering lower and he gets a run on everyone, but he ends up having to back up and get tight in the center of that turn. So that's kind of what we're talking about. And you see him lose that position to Kyle Wellman.
Yeah, and he's side by side with Bo Stencil right now. Stencil has worked his way up right with Jeff Ward. The two of them have been picking through this field. And at the front of the field, I believe we've seen, you know, Jeff Ward and, they're going to go 3 wide down the front straightaway right there. But Jeff Ward thinks better of it and tucks in behind Akie. He's going to push him past the outside line, and that's Bo Stencil and Brandon Feeney. We see a lot of side-by-side racing there.
Yeah, Bo was on the back of the 83 and pushed. They both drove that thing in deep on the line. I don't know if that helped either one of their charges there. As we see both of them kind of losing ground on the backstretch here.
Jeff Ward's going to throw it in deep there underneath Akie, and he's going to follow Joseph Tice through. And a great run for Brandon Feeney right now. He's going to follow behind Jeff Ward and try to pick his way past Akie, but he is not going to have the speed down the front straightaway to do it. Right now at the front of the field, Dalton Kilrow in that number 88, he is comfortably in the lead, and we saw him turn very fast laps in that first race and not really lose much in the drop-off with the tires. So if I were some of these other drivers, especially Joseph Tice and Jeff Ward, who both said they were going to conserve their tires, you know, you definitely want to conserve tires, but you also don't want to lose too much ground to that leader.
Yeah, I mean, hard charging isn't having to do a whole lot of hard charging today. You know, maybe this is his track. Maybe this is what he's picked as his home track, and this is what he, you know, races his ass off with. But, you know, whatever the case, he's got that Monte Carlo hooked up, man. He is. I haven't seen anyone being able to contend him right now.
Yeah, no, he kind of got out to an early lead. Joseph Tice, I believe, was maybe conserving his tires. He's dropped back a little bit. But Dalton Kilrow firmly in control of this race up at the front in that number 88 car. And right now, we're seeing a great run. We're not used to seeing him very close to the front. He's a great driver, great for his sponsors as well. Brandon Feeney up there mixing it up with Joseph Tyson, Nick Akie, going door to door, really trying to make his way through the field. So big shout out to Brandon Feeney from the Great White North, our only Canadian driver in the field, and he is showing them how it's done in the early stages of this event.
You know, I imagine all 40 people up in Canada at a bar right now huddled around a TV that's streaming Roku, and they are cheering that 14 car on, brother. I mean, they're talking about
taking a break from ice fishing.
Yeah, you get the lead out of it, eh? Get that thing moving.
Show them Yanks how it's done, eh?
Yeah, he is. He's not giving up, man. He's up against some of the fastest drivers that I've seen and that I've raced with, and he's got no problem mixing it up and keeping up with these guys. He's doing a real great job, and he's also I want to say a late model driver up in Canada too. He kind of came in with the group of Wally Wilson and Zach Sprung. They were all kind of friends, raced modifieds and late models up in Canada, and so kind of tagged along with them. That's how he's made his way into SESRA.
Now, just a quick update. The driver we were talking about in pre-race, Bo Stenzel, he had worked his way up into about the 5th position, but he is currently dropped back almost to the tail end of this field. And I'm wondering if those pedals are playing an issue. He may be conserving tires, but I'm wondering if those pedals are kind of rearing their ugly head. Maybe he wasn't able to fix them the best way he thought.
Yeah, it's hard to see how that goes. You know, what all's going on there. There's a lot of different things that could be affecting this race right now. Could be strategy, could be tires, like you said. Could be whoa, man, we see the 13 mixing it up real quick. Let's check in on that. As it looked like the 13 and the 75 were about to wad it up together there, but
yeah, very close call there.
They're
going to continue.
But yeah, maybe we can catch up with Bo after the race or something and see what the deal is here. Oh, 13's going to get into the 75. That's his teammate that he sends up into the wall.
Jason Taylor goes around, heavy impact with the driver's side of that car. Serious damage to the number 75 Modern Spartan Systems car of Jason Taylor. And that's going to bring out our first caution flag of the evening. And I'm not sure if that was a racing deal or if we can point fingers at anybody. It just looks like the two of them kind of met in the middle. May have just been a racing deal.
Yeah, I don't think Matt had that right side cleared as well as he thought when he was just hammered down trying to get some speed up after that corner, and then ended up driving him right into the 75. Some heavy damage on that 75. He got the left side, the rear end, part of the nose boogered up. That thing is not going to handle the same.
Definitely not. He hit hard enough to get a little bit airborne there, so definitely carrying some speed into that outside retaining wall. Definitely going to have to bring that down pit road to see how much they can salvage on that 75 car. And I'm curious if we're going to see any takers on pit road 17 laps into this 40-lap event. We're almost halfway. And yes, we are going to see almost the whole field. In fact, everyone is coming down pit road. Dalton Kilrow in the number 88 going to lead them down. Kyle Wellman, Derek Paulson, Jeff Ward, every single driver in much needed pit stop form. I imagine we're going to see some fresh tires put on these cars. Four fresh racing leathers. And I think we're going to take rare form here. Jason Taylor in the number 75. Jason, what happened out there?
My buddy Matt got into me. I trying to get a run on the outside. I probably pinched him down a little bit more than I needed to, but these things are really tight in the middle of the corner once you get a few laps on the tires. So it happens. I guess I could have probably not held him down as much, but I thought he'd cut me a little slack too.
Yeah, you made some heavy damage, heavy contact with that outside wall. How damaged is your car?
It's saying right now 3 minutes of repair, so I'm going to try to stay on the lead lap and see if maybe I can get another caution to come finish the repairs up here in a minute.
Well, as long as you got all 4 wheels pointed in the right direction, you might be able to salvage a pretty decent finish, Jason.
Yeah, it's driving pretty rough, so I'm hoping it gets fixed at least so it drives better.
All right, Jason, you want to thank your sponsors during this mid-race interview? Yeah, you're currently our in-race reporter.
Yeah, exactly. No, I'd like to thank SESRA for putting on a great series and a good feeder series, and then Spartan Systems coming on board and helping me with paying for the series this year.
Awesome. Thank you, Jason. Good luck in the rest of the event. The lights are out on the pace car, so I'm going to let you get back at it. Hopefully, we'll be talking to you again very soon. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for checking in with me. You guys enjoyed the show.
Thank you, Jason. So a little bit of insight on that. You know, he didn't blame anyone. He said maybe I shouldn't have run him so close. Just a racing incident there. 2 teammates racing each other hard, and gotta say, it happens from time to time, whether it's your teammate or not. So we're going to be going back to green, and a little bit of a shakeup at the front of the field. Matt Ridgway in that number 13, he came down pit road, and I'm wondering if he only took right side tires or maybe just fuel. I don't think fuel is going to be an issue, so maybe he only took right side tires because he has inherited the lead at the front of the field. Dalton Kilrow, who was our leader before, going to sit second. Joseph Tice with him shake up on pit road. He's going to be running third. Jeff Ward in fourth, and Kyle Wellman going to round out our top 5. The lights are out on the pace car. I imagine we're going to be going back racing here in just a few seconds. Curious to see if Matt Ridgway is going to be able to stay out front.
Yeah, if there's anything I learned in poker, it's 4 of a kind always beats a pair. So if that car was tight before, I don't think it's going to be doing much good with just right sides on it here. But we'll see.
Well, you said it right there. 4 of a kind always beats a pair. So we'll see if that poker translation holds true here in stock car racing at Auto Club. And already Dalton Kilrow all over the back bumper of Matt Ridgway in that number 13 car. Yeah, you said he was struggling with a little bit of a push, and I just don't think that those right sides only, an interesting strategy, but it may work out. He may not win the race, but it may work out for him in terms of a top 5 finish. We'll have to see.
Yeah, no, I mean, when you're in the weeds like that, you got to throw something at it. You got to throw a wrench in their plan, and you know, when you change up yours, when you make that audible, it changes up everyone else's plan too, because that puts them in a reaction mode. They got to react to you. You know, no one up front was ready for Matt Ridgway to be up there. You know, they already checked him out. They wrote him off. Hey, he's in the back messing around with Jason Taylor. We ain't got to worry about him. And then come out of the pits and, oh crap, Matt Ridgway's up here. So, you know, that was another car for them to get around and changed up their strategy. Who knows? Maybe all those top 5 cars now are pushing their cars harder, knowing that they had to get around that 13. So, you know, that gives, you know, maybe they're burning off more tires, and that gives Matt a chance to kind of fight back. As we see him fight back with the 11 right now, Derek Paulson gets loose and almost gets into that wall.
Very close call there off of turn 4. And I was going to say exactly what you said. You know, throwing a wrench in their plans, even if you yourself may not get much of a net gain off of that pit road strategy, you're definitely going to make it harder for those other drivers, make them wear their tires out faster, trying to work around you. So we'll see if that plays a role. And these 2 drivers, ooh, very, very close. The 13 and the 11, Matt Ridgway and Derek Paulson, side drafting almost side swiping each other down that back straightaway.
Yeah, these two are racing, man. These two are having at it. That's all good stuff. You know, that I wonder if that was a side draft or if that was I mean, we see Matt, he's all over the track. He's looking for anything to give him speed right now.
Looking for any advantage, using the apron down the front straightaway, and that little apron move is actually going to pay off for him, as he's going to be able to get around Derek Paulson in the 11, and he is going to slot in that the fifth position right there. And he's going to be followed by Brandon Feeney and Bo Stencil. That 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th. I'm sorry, 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th.
Yeah, so you're right. Matt Ridgway, with this change, he might have been able to get himself a top 5 finish. With that 2-tire call. I believe it was a 2-tire.
Yeah, right sides only for Matt Ridgway on that last pit stop. A very bold strategy, and we'll see if it pays off for him.
Yeah. Tell you what, up at the front, we see Dalton Kilrow get a little out of shape. He's got to chase that thing halfway down to the white line there on the back stretch. And that's going to cost him some speed going into the turn, as we see Jeff Ward creeping up on behind him, looking low. Now he's looking high. Man, that's a hard guy to defend on, and he's got a head of steam right now. He's looking for a hole to put it in to get that first place position.
Yeah, Jeff Ward knows how to get around this track and many tracks. And this is the reverse of what we saw in the first race. Is Jeff Ward is going to look underneath of Dalton Kilrow, but I don't think he's going to be able to have the momentum to complete the pass. In the first race, we saw Jeff Ward leading Dalton Kilrow, and now we see the reverse. Dalton Kilrow is leading Jeff Ward. So I'm curious to see if Jeff Ward is going to be able to find a way around that 88 car, as behind them, Joseph Tice and Kyle Wellman go side by side. Very, very close racing there for that third position.
No, we
the
see
top four right now, double file, 2x2, trying to sort out their positions. Very, very close racing here at the front of the field.
Well, I mean, everyone just came in, they pitted, they got their tires, and whatever position you're in, the fall off is going to hit all of you about the same time. So track position is real key right now. That's why they're fighting so hard. Once the tire fall starts hitting and these guys start separating and fading off, if you're leading the race, you got a real good position to defend that lead. So it's real critical right now to get that car up the front and get in front of your competitor.
Well, and as we saw them make pit stops for those 4 tires, they don't have to worry as much about the fall off over the course of a 40-lap event. I think a lot of these drivers were thinking we were going to go green flag the whole race and that they were going to have to conserve those tires for the full 40 laps. Now we had a pit stop around halfway, so they're able to push just a bit harder the second half of this race, knowing they've got fresh tires.
That's right, and these guys are definitely pushing it right now, as we see Joseph Tice. He's now fighting for second. He wants a swing at Jeff Ward, but Jeff Ward already made it around. I mean, we saw him. He had more speed than the 88. He was just having trouble getting around him. Now it's going to be a question of if he can set sail on this pack before Joseph Tice or Wellman can get around the 88.
Yeah, and Jeff Ward started at the back of the field, and he has found his way up to the front on lap 28, which is pretty impressive considering we had some caution flags in the middle, and he had actually dropped back to conserve tires a little bit in the first chunk of this race, but now finds himself comfortably in the lead over second place Dalton Kilrow. And I've got to say, we see those top 2 drivers right now. We're in that first race, and I'm thinking that extra practice, that extra seat time really is a benefit for this second race.
Yeah, I mean, that's pretty much who we see up front. But back here in the second pack, we see Paulson and Ridgway battling it back out. As we see Ridgway, he's now trying to set that 11 back up for another pass to get that 5th place position back.
And these 5 drivers back here in 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, and 9th, have been battling back and forth in a very tight pack. We see Paulson and Ridgway, they've been battling hard, but back behind them we see Brian McRae, Bo Stencil, and Brandon Feeney. The three of them have been shaking it up as well. So those 4 or 5 drivers really wanting to make their way, because whoever's leading this pack has a top 5 finish. And because how close they are, you know, one person has a slip up and you could walk home with a top 5 finish. And everybody wants to get a top 5 finish, especially here in SESRA.
Yeah, I mean, getting that top 5 finish in SESRA is a really big deal, because you know the competition that you're racing against. These are all top quality drivers. They're really good guys, and you know, they make you earn it. No one's going to give you that top 5 or definitely win. So I know when I got my first SESRA win, it was a really big freaking deal. I mean, I was calling up people that I knew didn't care one way or the other, but they still found out. Even if it was 11 o'clock at night, you know, I was going to wake my dad up and let him know his boy was a winner in SESRA now. Then I had to explain what all that was. But yeah, it's a big deal. There's a lot of pride that goes into it, especially with this tight-knit group. So, you know, whether it's a preseason race, there's points, whether points are on the line or money's on the line or not, to get in front of these guys and win against these guys, it's a real big deal.
Absolutely. And for those drivers sitting at home watching this on TV who are not a part of SESRA, you know, come out and join us. We do these invitational races before the main event. We definitely want to see what you've got and what talents you can bring. We are a close-knit group of drivers, very professional, where we're always looking for new talent to join us. So a perfect opportunity while we do these invitational open races where we can see, you know, who can qualify, who wants to join. We'd love to see more professionals out there on the track.
Yeah, no, yeah, take that SESRA rookie title with pride. There's a lot of guys that I know want to get back into it that just aren't quite there yet. As we see Bo Stencil here, he's using up a lot of that track. I think he took some of the paint off of Matt's front bumper with him, making that move. But it definitely got Ridgway out of the gas, and he backed up on the track. He might be falling back behind Feeney now, as Feeney's hot after that 13 machine now too.
Well, Bo's got to turn some heads in the pits. He said earlier he was doing it for the pit lizards, so you know he's got to do it with some flash. And oh, he is up in the outside wall. Just as I say that, Bo Stencil on the outside wall. They're going to go 3 wide down the front straightaway around him.
There's a pass in the grass.
Yeah, Brandon Feeney with the pass in the grass down the front stretch. But Bo's going to keep his foot in it on the outside, and he's going to try to motor back on the outside there.
God, yeah, he's back into it, man. Right now, that Fisher pub in Ontario is going berserk right now with that 14 battling to get around this 23 car. I tell you what, man, I don't think they're done yet. We're at lap 33 out of 40, and that's plenty of time for these guys to keep mixing it up.
Bo Stencil made some pretty heavy contact with that outside wall, but it doesn't seem to have slowed him down much. It did kill his momentum for that lap, but he was right back in it, putting pressure on that 13 car of Matt Ridgway, and he made quick work of the 14 of Brandon Feeney. So that damage may not be as heavy as we thought.
Oh, yeah, he's back in it all right. Yeah, Matt's going to have to start putting some good, clean laps together to break away from that pack. That damage might help. The damage on the 23 might help Matt get away as long as he starts hitting his marks here. Get some clean laps down.
All right, and, Jason, which choice would you rather have? Would you rather have a perfectly good car with completely old left side tires and right side tires only, or would you rather have 4 fresh tires and a damaged car?
You know what? For as these cars look like a brick as it is, I think I'm going to go with the 4 fresh tires and the damage, because I don't see a whole lot of aero at my advantage at the start. So yeah, I'm going to go with the 4 fresh tires, because old left side tires, man, they're not doing them any good.
Well, just I think that's the right choice because just as a reference, if you remember, I think it was 1986, maybe 1987, Tim Richmond won a race at Pocono, which is a pretty fast track, and he did so with some significant damage to the front of his car. So even in the real world version of these cars, not a lot of aero dependency when it comes to you just want to have your tires pointed in the right direction and some horsepower to put down on the track. The rest will figure itself out.
Yeah, that's a very good point. And that's something we're gonna see as this series goes on. Guys with damaged cars, being able to still contend and fight for those points. I think that's gonna be a real cool factor because with all the other series that we've ran, once you get damaged, you're pretty much out of the picture. The only reason they come back out on the track is if there's any points available. So I think it's going to be cool to see some cars get banged up and, they're still fighting for that top 10, that top 5 spot.
Now, up at the front of the field, Jeff Ward has really kind of checked out from the rest of the field. He is up about 0.8 of a second, nearly a second over Joseph Tice, who runs in second. Dalton Kilrow runs third, and Kyle Wellman in fourth. The front four really starting to stretch the lead out over the rest of the field. And I'm not sure what happened to Nick Akie. He had been running up in the top 5 for a while, but he finds himself now at the back of the field. He's battling with Jason Taylor in that number 75. Taylor had damage earlier. Both of them still on the lead lap, but unfortunately, something may have happened to him. I'm not sure what. But he is relegated right now to that 11th position.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't see any damage on him, and I don't see anything in the tracker saying that he made contact with anything. I'm not sure. Maybe he just burned off the tires way more than expected.
Okay. So our producer, Jeff Shrewsbury, has just informed me that Nick Akie, a couple laps ago, he got really loose off of turn 4 and had to take it down towards pit road and then had to go the entire length of the front straightaway at pit road speed limit. So that put him all the way to the back. He didn't actually damage his car and he didn't spin out, but he kept it off of the attenuator and had to go down pit road.
The attenuator, yeah. Well, you don't want to be on the wrong side of that, and you definitely don't want to get speared by it. So, we've seen some action here. Everyone was saying, "Oh, white flag's out." I didn't realize. Let's get back up front here. Jeff Ward leading by a second.
Attenuator.
Drone it on.
White flag out for Jeff Ward, who has a comfortable lead over Joseph Tice. We got sidetracked there with Nick Akie and his pit road shenanigans. And up at the front, Jeff Ward has just run away with it. And we are going to come off of turn 4. And for 2 races in a row, Jeff Ward is going to really flex his muscles here at Auto Club Speedway. And he is going to win tonight at the E-Racing TV SESRA Classic Championship race at Auto Club Speedway. Joseph Tice going to finish second. Dalton Kilrow, hard charge, and Dalton Kilrow going to finish third. Kyle Wellman brings it home in fourth, and Derek Paulson going to round out our top 5. What a race, Jason.
Yeah, no, this turned out really cool. Like what I was saying, I think everyone was expecting this to be a fairly simple, fairly clean race, and it changed it up on them. These cars are different to drive. They're going to have to get used to it. We've been talking about tires and how different it is, and it's more than the tires. The cars handle differently. They have the old style single piston caliper brakes. These are your O'Reilly special brake pads on these things. They don't stop worth a damn. So I mean, it's the whole car's different, and we're seeing how hard it's going to be, no matter what track you're at, to put a good race together.
And what a sight right now. We see the top 3 drivers right there parked in order on the front stretch at the finish line. What a cool sight. We see Jeff Ward, Joseph Tice, Dalton Kilrow, all 3 of them parked there for all of our fans to see, both in the pits, in the stands, and right here at home. And I've got to say, that was quite the race. But I'm not surprised that Jeff Ward was able to pick up the victory. He showed so much speed and so much talent here at the Auto Club Speedway this week.
Yeah, no, he's done a great job, and this is, if I'm a competitor looking to get into the series right now, that's the target, that's the goal, that's who you're gonna have to beat if you're wanting to get into this points battle. So, start watching these back, watch how he does it, and start making your notes, start making your battle plans for sure. But we'll get all these guys up here to interview them just in a minute, and we'll be right back from these words from Modern Spartan Systems.
All right, we're gonna add a bucket, coolant. Oh, amps it right out. The bucket. See how long it takes to wear through the coating.
Welcome back to eRacing TV. We are now entering the post-race of this wonderful race here at Auto Club Speedway. We've seen the Invitational and just now the classic race, the main race. And in both events, Jeff Ward has walked away with the victory. Jeff Ward, 2 races in a row. We're talking to you after the race. How did you feel about that main race?
Yeah, that was another good run for us. Kind of started in the back there. Just picked them off one by one, saved tires. I was trying to save that right front a lot more than I did the first race because about blew a tire in the first one. And this one had a lot better tire wear on the right front. So just kind of adjusted my line and was trying not to turn the wheel as much and oversteer that right front. And that caution about halfway helped us too. Was able to get new tires and restart like 4th there and really go to work and put in some heaters and try to get out to a lead there and maintain it.
Me and Jason were talking in between the 2 races, and I joked around and said we should. You're so dominant in everything we run. I said we should make Jeff take the quote renegade challenge, make him start at the back and see if he could race his way up. Well, you ended up doing that anyway, and you proved that you can walk away with the win even if you do start at the back.
Well, I don't know if we could have got up there if it wasn't for the caution. I mean, still had pretty good rubber compared to some of the guys up there, but they had I don't know, about a second lead, I think. But yeah, man, and it's interesting because after the race I was talking to Joseph Tice and Dalton there, and they had better tire wear than I did. I was like down to 67% on the right front, and Joseph was like at 77%. So that was kind of strange to hear, but glad we got the win, and that feels good.
Yeah, great run in both races. How much did that first race play a role in this victory in the second race?
Oh, that was huge. I was able to, figure out what line I wanted to run come the main race here, or what the dominant line was, which was kind of arcing it into 3 and getting that big run off right there on the apron, and trying to get max speed down the straightaway. So yeah, that first race helped a lot, and I was able to learn a lot about tire wear and different racing lines and how the cars act in traffic.
All right, Jeff, why don't you thank some of those sponsors that support you? You always, every week, you basically end up putting your sponsors in victory lane, so give them a shout out.
Yeah, I like to thank Arctic Coolers, Kentucky Bourbon Barrel Ale. I got SCO on the car there, but that's probably not even the car I'm gonna run when we start the series. I'm gonna be running one of the throwback cars, but I just don't want to get burned out on. I get burned out on running the same car too long, so I want to make sure I don't break that one out till we get going. But yeah, thanks to you guys, ETV up there in the booth. Thanks to Dr. Squatch, Top Flight Computers, Pride Outdoors Network, TVT Green Oil Additives, Modern Spartan Systems. It seems like every time I do this, I think back and I'm like, man, I forgot this guy, but I think that might cover him. And then thanks to Dad out there if he's watching tonight.
Well, the good news, Jeff, is you have plenty of opportunities to thank your sponsors because it seems like we're always talking to you in Victory Lane. So definitely probably going to be doing more of that throughout the course of this season.
I hope so. That's why I'm doing it, to try to go out there and get wins. So hopefully I talk to y'all as much as possible.
Thank you so much, Jeff Ward, the winner of our race here at Auto Club Speedway. And definitely no surprise to see that, always fast. And I believe we're going to take a talk with our second place finisher, Joseph Tice, another driver who is no stranger to the booth. Joseph Tice, a great run, second place. Tell us how that race shook out for you.
Yeah, it was a pretty good race. I started on pole and led a lap, I think, and then just, I was starting to save already, starting to fall back through the pack because, I didn't know how much to save because I didn't do that first race. And, I knew when the caution came out that reset everything, everybody was pretty much going to be on go from there. And, I just tried to do the best I could. I watched Dalton and Jeff battle, and that was fun. I was kind of hoping they'd battle a little more, maybe wear their tires out more, but after that, I got by Dalton, and I just couldn't catch Jeff.
Did that mid-race caution, did that kind of did that disappoint you, or did it excite you knowing that the tire wear wasn't really going to play as much of a role and you were going to be able to go full blast for the rest of the race?
Well, I really kind of didn't want it because I was, like I said, I was saving pretty hard, and from what I hear, maybe I had the best tires at the time, but cautions happen, whatever. I'm thankful my pit crew did me good. That number one stall, I think I came in like 5th and left 2nd, so that was a good pit stop by the boys to put me right back up in the action, so that helped out a lot.
Joseph, how are you liking these cars compared to the cars that we've been running in previous seasons? These 87 cars are definitely unique. Are you getting a feel for them? Are you enjoying them?
Yeah, I think, it's definitely a different animal, and I think tire wear plays a lot more of a factor with these cars, I think, than almost any other car on the service right now. And, back when the Cup car had the high horsepower and low downforce, it kind of reminds me of that. Not speed-wise, but as far as tires really mattered when that combination was on the Cup car. And so now that, we've got this, the tires really matter again, and I seem to play out pretty well when that happens. So, I like it. I think, it's definitely different. It's a lot of fun. You can actually touch each other a little bit, beat and bang, and not worry about, fender damage or anything like that a whole lot. So I think it's fun.
Thank you so much, Joseph. You want to give a shout out to your sponsors and those who support you for another great run?
Yeah, sure. Like I said, I got to thank Modern Spartan Systems for being on the car. Thank you guys in the booth for broadcasting. Y'all do a heck of a job. It's always fun to go back and see what I missed during the race. Thank Dr. Squatch, Jason, and Brian for putting the league on. And as always, thank my wife for letting me have some time out on a Thursday night to come hang with the boys and have a little fun.
That's right. Thursday night is for the boys. Joseph Tice finishing 2nd. Thank you so much, Joseph.
All right, thanks.
Joseph Tice with a great run, always up at the front. Him and Jeff Ward always battling it out. But we're going to talk now to another driver that we seem to talk to almost every single week, hard charging Dalton Kilrow. You started at the front this week. Didn't so much have to do the hard charging. Did that make it easier for you?
It did a little bit. This race was going to be a tire-saving race the entire time, and that initial run that we had, I was just doing all I could to save my tires and not kill the living crap out of them. And I felt like I was doing a good job. And that caution came out, and I was like, well, I see Jeff Ward's just about right behind me, and we're going to be on equal tires here. There's no chance holding him back. So it was it was good just to be ahead of whatever carnage would happen behind, and not really have to battle too many people.
So you battled the first week, the first race, you battled hard with Jeff Ward in that the first race, and then you ended up battling pretty hard with him here in the second race. What was the difference between those two races with a little bit of a caution break halfway through this one? Did it give you kind of a chance to go at it hard, or were you still trying to maintain what you had?
Well, with the caution break being about halfway, it was tempting to go as hard as we really could, and honestly, I was pushing it probably harder than I should have. The 20 laps is a long time in these cars, and anything can really happen with that right front. And if you don't take care of it, the first like 5 laps of the 20 lap run, you're going to be dead on lap 20. So it was kind of trying to balance the pushing the car versus saving tires, and Jeff just did a better job at it.
All right, Dalton, do you have any sponsors? Anybody you want to thank for yet another great run in that 88 car?
Well, tonight I got to thank Daddy's Barbershop. I'm actually going to be stopping in there in the next couple days or two because I need a cut bad. I have a mop on my head and it is ugly. I thank you guys for doing the broadcast, all the admins for putting the league on and putting these races out, and everybody up front for having a good, clean, hard, fun race.
Hard charging Dalton Kilrow, thank you so much for your time and with a great run. Hope to see you again next week where we'll probably be talking to you again.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Dalton. So that's our top 3 finishers. Jason, tell me a little bit about your thoughts after this race here at Auto Club.
This is pretty much right on par with how awesome these races have been leading up to this. Some of the guys were a little anxious about starting a series with the 87 cars just because how new it is. They know there's going to be a whole lot of changes coming up. They know there's going to be a whole lot of updates to the tire and packages. But with how much fun it sounds like everyone's having now that we're kind of a couple races into all of this, they're ready to take those looks when they come. And everyone just seems excited. I'm excited watching it. These shows, these are battles that we haven't seen, especially in SESRA for a while. So it's put a lot of guys back on the level playing field, and it's letting new guys kind of show off what talent they got.
And I feel you right there, because we have seen already, we're 2 races into this classic SESRA season, invitational exhibition races sort of thing, and we have seen some really close, really exciting races between drivers that we have become very familiar with, and also some new drivers. We have drivers like Dakota Bennick and Bo Stenzel, new drivers to our series, but they are really finding their way and fitting in very nicely. So I'm hoping as this series goes on, we're able to find more and more drivers and kind of get a feel for the racing in these cars, because it has been awesome so far. Or as I would say in the 80s, it's been rad.
Rad, yeah.
So I hope everyone who's watching at home joins us next week, where we're going to be at good old Talladega. And Talladega is a completely different beast from Daytona. Daytona, the track we ran last week, is, it's bumpy. It's a little bit more narrow. We're really going to be able to carry a lot more speed next week at Talladega. So expect some high speed, some close racing, and some good old fashioned aero war type racing. I want to thank everyone for joining us here tonight on eRacing TV, whether you're watching at home on Roku or Amazon Fire Stick, Facebook, YouTube, or Twitch. Rather the platform, it doesn't matter. We thank you so much for watching us here at Auto Club Speedway. For my partner in crime, Jason Anderson, up in the booth, I'm Steve Roswick. Thank you so much for watching, and we will see you next week.